hey, so I want to watch Corey Gaming and talk about like as like an add-on to the thing that we were just talking about. It is the 3 types of players. Where's it at? 3 types of fighting game players. If you have not, please go out and subscribe to Corey Gaming. They're an absolutely amazing channel. I'll just drop the link in chat real fast. Timmy Johnny Spike, yeah, also very, very similar, but it's not Timmy Johnny Spike so much. We'll just watch the video. It's very good. I'm gonna make myself just a bit smaller. I should make a new scene for Tam Talks that makes me a bit smaller. Does that look good? Is that fine enough? Just a wee bit bigger. There. Okay. 3 types of fighting gamers. This gets to loosely translate to card game players, and we've watched this on stream before, so I'll do my best to not pause. But I do have things I want to say over top of this, right?
As illustrated in the previous video, a fighting game's replay value comes from having human opponents to play against. While some of the best games ever made have been single-player only, nothing can match the depth and challenge of overcoming a sentient being with the same desire to come out on top.
I played against Bryant last night, and we played a game that lasted about 12 turns. And he was at 2, and I ended up being at like 16. It was Shotoruki 2 versus Endeavor. And it was inarguably the best game of My Hero Academia I've ever played because of the in-depth interactions we were having with each other, going back and forth. And you just you can't get that from a game of solitaire, you know? Like even if you just jam your cards. The absolute epiphany of how I felt losing that game was amazing. K-Rad, if you're still in the chat, it was so, wasn't it good? It was so good, wasn't it?
Coming up with a winning strategy so complicated, and it's why traditional game guides are more likely to have things like combos and setups as opposed to a section on how to frustrate your opponent. Luckily, we have some great resources on fighting game theory like SonicHurricane.com's Footsie's Handbook, Seth Killian's Vitriolic Domination.
I wonder if there's anything about that Footsie's Handbook that would be interesting to watch. I think fighting games and universes have so much in common. I think you could learn a lot from doing it, from watching
101
it.
Series, and now the Amazon.com self-help bestseller Simplifying Street Fighter by Gutex. While I love combo videos and watching Punko get angry, I wanted to know more about the game's theory. Korean OG veteran and Evo champ Ryan An, aka Laugh, was kind enough to let me, and by extension you, in on one of his theories. He feels that there are 3 archetypes of fighting game players, and most players exhibit varying degrees of each one, kind of like a radar chart. The 3 attributes we're talking about are the brains, the heart, and the body.
And this is it, right? If you take and you look at a lot of players, you have a lot of players who are exceptionally good at all 3 of these spots, right? Brain, heart, body, and I get to define them, and I tried to define them before. Your brain players are your Tim Keefes, right? Tim Keefe, phenomenal player. He will sit down and he will actually calculate the idea of what is my next check. He'll think about the numbers inside of his deck, the numbers inside of his discard pile, what he's got on stage, what he's got in hand. He'll actually, I call this the final boss position. He's got his cards, right? And he's thinking about a play, about how it'll turn out. He puts his cards on the table and he crosses his arms and he goes, If you ever see Tim Keefe do this to you, you're going to lose that turn. It's happened to me twice in tournament, and it sucked. The second time he did it, I was like, oh no, he's in his boss position. Oh no. But he's such a brain player. And then you've got the heart player who just rip the checks off the top. They just rip them. Hey, this isn't the right move, but we got there. Hey, it worked. It works. We span the 5s. Live and die by the 5s. Live and die by the 2s. Right? Check a 6 to win the game. We got there every time. We like little kid luck. Right? These are your heart players. And then I'm gonna play this line, and I hope it works out. And then you've got the body players who are going to. This is the hardest one, right? Body players are the people that have it ingrained. They don't have to think so hard about making the normal lines. They just like play fast, not because they're better at thinking out the plays, but because of the but because they like know the game, the new mechanics so well, right? The people that like don't miss enhances are the body players, right? You'll see a body player not miss a not whiff on, oh, I forgot you had that card. Body players just don't do that, right? They're so meticulous at reading the board state that they're so good. Whereas mind players are reading the top of the deck exceptionally well. Mind players are thinking about what's going to be inside of your hand, right? So, okay, that's what we have to look at it, right? Mind players are looking at the top of the hand and looking at their hand, looking at top of decks. Triggers response by muscle memory. Love that, Jay Rister. And body players are so good at just playing the game, right? I'll never miss an enhance. I know my sequencing down to a pat because I've just grinded it out, right?
All this is pretty abstract, so I'll elaborate. The brains refers to the scientific player. This is the lab monster who is constantly in training mode, finding the best options and answers to particular situations. And
so the idea, and the reason I bring this up, right, is this concept of what the numbers do inside of my deck. It is a brain idea. It is a brain idea. And genuinely, I'm not a brain player. I'm not a brain player. If I had to categorize myself, I'm actually brain third. I am a body, then heart, then brain. I think I am really, really bad at statistics. I'm really, really bad at figuring out ratios and numbers, right? It's why whenever I deck build, I just make all my block zones even because I don't want to think about it. I'm not a brain player. I will deliberately not put in good attack packages in my deck because I don't want to play without low blocks. Straight up. That is how I deck build. I let somebody borrow a Chaco 2 list yesterday, and they were like, the first question of their mouth was, how many low blocks does this deck have? And I go, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. The answer ended up being 20 lows, 20 highs, 41 mids. I can't. I'm not a brain player. That's just not me. I'm a body. I'm a heart player, right? I am down to let it rock and go, but I'm a body player first, then heart, then whatever.
Hitbox and frame data is king, and every move and decision is calculated to provide the best outcome and the least risk.
100%.
The brains-based player is the most thrilled to find an option select that can cover 3 possibilities in one setup, and aims to have a concrete answer for every moment of the match. However, because there are virtually infinite scenarios in a fighting game, it's not possible to know every situation, and this is where being solely a brains-based player has its limits. Unfamiliar situations can be downright scary, and the fact that you're playing a fighting game and not chess means that you don't have time to analyze how best to handle it.
The fun thing about our game is it is chess. I think if you want to take competitive card games and you want to describe it to one of the normies, you basically look at them and say, what I do as a hobby is a combination of poker and chess. If you explain it to them that way, that it's poker and chess combined with none of the money, that is the easiest way, right? The known information, our staging area, our card pool is chess as we're playing chess, and then our hidden information is the poker, right? What's in our deck, what's in our hand, what we're gonna check, so on and so forth.
But if you've really done your lab work, the scientific player has the most consistent and efficient way of bulldozing their opponents. In contrast, the heart refers to the emotional.
So I think that some of the best aggro players in the game are actually really good mind players. That they have calculated genuinely. If you want to look at like one of the newest rising star, the reason this player is so good, look no further than Damdel. I think Damdel has done so much lab work on the back end of inside of his deck. It is because he has labbed so hard of like what is the most optimal thing that I could draw right now? What are my needs, my wants, my niche cards? And you get to see inside of his deck, he's a brand new. That's a body player, not a mind player. I think mine happens at the deck building screen. I think mine for sure happens at the deck building screen. Like it's deck building and then utilizing what known information to like know what you're going to check, right? I think the body player is the person that doesn't miss enhances. I think the body player is the person who doesn't miss responses. I watched. I'm not gonna say them by name. I played somebody for 3 hours last night. We just grinded some matches while I was helping. They're going to Omaha. A dozen, literally 12 times, they missed the trigger on the boots, Jiro's boots, the asset. What's the asset called? What's the asset called? 251 high block. Literally missed the trigger 12 times on charge attacks. Earphone jack. Yeah. Earphone jacks. That's a body player. A body player doesn't miss that. A body player jams it every time. Right? They just don't miss that trigger. Right? They don't forget their first forms. They don't do this. And I think the heart I read the heart on screen. The brain player has a lot to do with what your ratios are inside of your deck. And then doing the best option there. With that said, I think that these are like hard categories. I'm this player, and we're not, right? Like we are an amalgam of them.
Or field-based player. This kind of player likes mind games, baiting, conditioning their opponent.
Damdale is quintessentially body player when playing Burb. I think that Damdale is like, the reason he's so good is he's good at both. If we're gonna call a spade, right? As I think he plays the deck exceptionally well. Like he's so damn good with it. But I think that deck is like highly optimized, and the mind player is what does that, right? He plays the deck really well, and that's body. But he had to make the choices to put the deck together, the ratios, right? That's where I'm at. And I want to add a thing, and I saw this in the comment in Twitch chat, and I don't want to take like the full credit for it. Homie, all the love, but we know you're a body player because you've played these cards 100 times. We don't remember the names. It's true. Could not is the boots. I just call them the boots. Hey, I'll respond with the kicks. The thing about the heart player is a good heart player is really good at baiting my opponent or punishing them. God, now this has become a Damdale fan cast. If you look at Damdale's bird play from the last regional, whenever he's playing against, I see what you did there. He used the in-hands flip discard. He used the flip discard 2 cards off of Latent Skill. Is that the name of that card? Latent Skill. And then it got canceled. And then he killed Todoroki, right? Because that was the thing that he wanted to be negated, but that is such a crazy good. That's just a crazy good move, right? And that's like a misplay, but he baited him into it. If he didn't negate that, then maybe Damdale doesn't get there, right? It's there. The point of the video you're watching was everyone is some mix of these 3 attributes. A body player is still mostly body. Yeah,
I'm making predictions based on the heat of the moment. In other words, making reads, also known as yomi in Japan. It's about riding that fine line between genius and foolishness, and somehow coming out as a genius.
Yeah.
A field-based player thrives in the scientific player's fear of unfamiliar situations, and will delve into the metagame to get the edge they need in order to win. For those unfamiliar, the metagame is a game played outside of the main game that still affects the main game. But none of this matters if you drop your combos all day long, and this brings us to the final archetype to round out the theory. This type of player is known as the body, which refers to players known for their physical capabilities, which in fighting games refers to execution and reactions. This is actually the most straightforward out of the 3, and what people unfamiliar with fighting games might think is the only thing required to be good at fighting games. Of course, this usually isn't the case, but there are games that are fast-paced and require serious timing and coordination to do well.
So this is like the big difference between fighting games and card games is we have time. Like we have time to do stuff and things and stuff, right? Obviously you can't slow play people, but it's not like reaction based. It is as fast as your brain can handle it, right? To the point where I actually want to do some experimenting with the games that we play later on in stream and possibly for the rest of my streaming career. I think it's fun for us to do this.
And we notice that physical players prefer characters that benefit from being able to do difficult links and combos. This kind of required precision is what separates fighting games from mind sports like chess and poker, and it's often
I think that this is where we get to see, like, I think the idea of, like, when I look at a Froppy hand, and I told this to Chris Bromley, who's looking to play Froppy next. When I look at a Froppy hand and it's not an easy read, or an easy line, right? If I don't have 5 attacks, if I have 3 attacks, I don't know what to do. Do I push? Do I build? I need to poke, right? Like I can't find that line. I think that's really, really tough. And you can just do the same thing with like I think some staff strike decks are kind of hard to play, right? Like what happens whenever you get your 6th card deep and you still have 3 more cards and you're trying to kill them? Like this is where like being a good body player comes into mind.
often blamed for being a barrier to new potential fighting game players. But some of you might be thinking that this theory is nothing new, and you're absolutely right. The balance between mind, body, and heart has been expressed countless times in fiction before, and one that's unequivocal about it is The Wizard of Oz.
Toto, I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore.
The cowardly lion has a brain, but is fearful. The clumsy scarecrow is brainless, but has a heart. And the Tin Man represents a physical body without any human organs. But as much fun as it might be to make parallels between fighting gamers and The Wizard of Oz, how is any of this useful?
Agreed.
Well, it's not terribly useful on the surface, but with some thinking and playing Theory Fighter, it can change the way you approach a match.
And that is really where like this all comes down to, right? Like as you are deck building, as you are coming through, and this is a like a sidebar, a mini Tam talk from the one that we just had of like the idea of needs, wants, nice niche. You have to play this, like they call it Theory Fighter. You got to play these theories of like when do I actually want these cards? Where are my good matchups? I think if you just like slam a deck together like the night before an event, unless you're just godly at the game, which there are some people who are, we've heard about it time and time again. If somebody just gets like it's kind of a UFS tradition where a lot of the old heads just get like absolutely wasted the night before playing games, throw a pile of cards together, and then go top 16. They just do it. They just do it because they're just good. Call Shanatoni, yeah. Like those people just like are allowed to do that. They do that because they have so much experience in the game. They're good enough at all 3 points. But you need to do some real theory crafting. I can tell you that I don't slam decks together last minute. I just refuse to. Right? I just can't do it. I'm not a mind player. I don't have that enough. And so making sure that you are theory fighting enough is good. Yeah.
Just off the top of my head, I might be more wary of wake-up backdashing against a brain-space player because they'll option select everything.
I don't think I'm gonna continue watching this, but you guys get the point, right? You guys get the idea. I think he's gonna go into more specifics about fighting games, and I think I've already made my my thing. I think that this idea and the more places that you can take and grab things and make even like solid, semi-solid, opaque reaches for like ideas and concepts just help solidify your understanding of a game, even if it's wrong, genuinely. But what matters is like you open up, you empty your cup every time that Fillion says drink, and you empty your cup and be willing to say yes, I'm wrong, right? And that's how I feel about that.